Have you ever felt uneasy around someone without really knowing why, as if something unspoken is lingering in the air? Sometimes, the person who smiles at you the most may actually be the one who secretly dislikes you. It sounds unsettling, right? Carl Jung referred to this as the shadow, the part of ourselves we hide, the emotions we refuse to acknowledge. This shadow can appear in unexpected ways, including the hidden resentment of someone close to you. Instead of confronting their own flaws, some individuals project onto others what they reject within themselves. That's how a so-called friend might secretly envy your success, take quiet satisfaction in your failures, or subtly exclude you. These reactions are often unconscious, yet their impact is very real. It can be confusing and painful to sense that someone close to you harbors negativity. That's why this guide brings together 13 clear signs that someone may secretly dislike you. By recognizing these signs, you can protect yourself from manipulation, avoid emotional exhaustion, and build more genuine relationships. The final sign is the most subtle and the most damaging. So stay with me until the end to fully understand how to protect your emotional energy. The first sign is when someone constantly makes subtle jabs at you, disguised as jokes or mild criticism. It often begins with small, seemingly harmless remarks, comments about how you speak, your appearance, or jokes that feel slightly too sharp. Relax, it's just a joke, they might say. But internally, something doesn't feel right. When someone secretly dislikes you, they rarely show open hostility. Instead, they rely on quiet, low-key attacks woven into everyday conversations. These remarks may seem light enough to ignore, yet frequent enough to plant doubt. A comment about your achievements, a subtle critique of your choices, or a condescending tone that diminishes your ideas. These small actions gradually wear down your confidence. Carl Jung suggested that what we reject in ourselves is often projected onto others. So if someone repeatedly uses sarcasm or subtle criticism, it's likely not random. It may reflect their own internal discomfort. Their insecurity can show up as a need to diminish you, making themselves feel more significant. Responding to this behavior is difficult because it's easy for them to dismiss it. If you confront them, they may say you're overreacting or being too sensitive. But when these comments continue, they are no longer harmless. They reveal a deeper level of resentment. Over time, this pattern can make you question yourself, wondering if you're imagining things. However, genuine kindness doesn't hurt, even unintentionally. If someone consistently blurs the line between humor and criticism, it may be time to reconsider their place in your life. The second sign is a persistent feeling of discomfort in their presence, as if their energy feels heavy or unwelcoming. Energy often reveals what words try to hide. When someone secretly dislikes you, their body language and subconscious signals tend to expose it. It's not only about what they say, but how they make you feel. You might notice a lack of warmth in their eyes, a colder tone when they speak to you, or a subtle stiffness in their posture. Carl Jung spoke about the collective unconscious, an unseen layer connecting human experience. We don't just hear words, we also sense emotional signals on a deeper level. Someone holding negative feelings toward you often projects an energy that creates discomfort. You may leave conversations with them feeling drained, uneasy, or slightly irritated without understanding why. This becomes clearer when you observe how differently they treat others, warm and friendly with everyone else, yet tense and distant with you. If being around a particular person consistently creates a sense of unease or emotional heaviness, it's important to trust that feeling. Hidden emotions tend to surface, even without clear evidence. This isn't paranoia, it's intuitive awareness that people often ignore. The third sign is hidden rivalry. This person seems to constantly compete with you instead of celebrating your success. When you share good news or an achievement, you expect genuine happiness, a smile, encouragement, or kind words. Instead, you receive a forced reaction, distant behavior, or comments that minimize your accomplishment. Someone who secretly dislikes you often struggles to see you succeed. Rather than confronting you, they compete silently. Every milestone you reach can trigger an internal need in them to outperform you. This hidden competition may appear in different ways. Sometimes they imitate you, your style, your projects, not out of admiration, but as a way to keep pace. Other times, they downplay your success with remarks like, "Heart, you were just lucky," or "It could have been better." Carl Jung explained that jealousy often stems from a deep internal sense of lack. This person may not dislike you for who you are, but for what you represent, their unrealized goals or insecurities. Through you, they see what they wish they could become. The challenge with this type of rivalry is that it remains hidden. Unlike open competition, where intentions are clear, this one operates quietly. You may feel tension or pressure without being able to identify its source. It creates an environment where interactions carry an unspoken weight. Recognizing this pattern is essential. Healthy relationships are based on support and encouragement, not silent competition. If your progress consistently triggers a hidden race in someone else, they may not be an ally, but a competitor behind a friendly mask. The fourth sign is indifference to your emotions. Whether you are succeeding or struggling, they show little genuine concern. When someone secretly dislikes you, they lack true empathy for your experiences. They may appear to listen, nodding, responding briefly, but emotionally, they remain disconnected. In some cases, they may even seem irritated by your feelings, as if your struggles are inconvenient. This absence of empathy is significant. It's not just occasional disinterest. It's a consistent lack of emotional connection. Someone who truly cares will naturally respond with understanding, even in small ways. But someone holding resentment often feels nothing when you're in pain. This subtle contempt can also appear as minimizing your feelings. When you share something important, they respond with dismissive comments like, "It's not that serious," or "Others have it worse." These responses are not harmless. They reflect a refusal to acknowledge your emotional reality. Carl Jung suggested that indifference can come from unresolved inner issues. However, recognizing this does not mean tolerating it. What matters is identifying the pattern and adjusting your expectations. Everyone deserves relationships built on empathy, presence, and basic respect. If someone consistently remains emotionally distant despite your efforts, it may be necessary to accept that they do not value the connection as much as you believed. The fifth sign is false kindness. This person offers help, but in a way that keeps them in a position of control or superiority. At first, their support may seem genuine. They offer advice, assistance, or encouragement. But over time, something feels off. When someone secretly dislikes you, they may avoid direct confrontation and instead use subtle manipulation. Their help becomes a poisoned gift. Rather than empowering you, it quietly weakens your independence. They may offer advice that appears thoughtful, but leads you in the wrong direction, such as discouraging you from taking opportunities. Or they may assist you in ways that reinforce your dependence, reminding you that you couldn't have succeeded without them. This behavior keeps you in a lower position while allowing them to maintain control. Their kindness is not truly selfless. It serves their need to feel superior while limiting your growth. Carl Jung explained that some individuals project their insecurities by subtly controlling others. When they offer help, it's not always to support your growth. It's often to maintain control. They want to position themselves as the ones who decide what you deserve. The difficulty with this kind of hidden help is that it's not easy to refuse. How do you say no to someone who appears to care? How do you question a gesture that looks positive on the surface? That's where the manipulation lies. If you push back, you risk being seen as ungrateful, overly suspicious, or unfair. But the truth is straightforward. Real support uplifts, strengthens, and empowers. Toxic support creates dependence, uncertainty, and a sense of obligation. If every act of help feels like it comes with conditions or hidden motives, it may be time to question the intention behind it. The sixth sign is when they speak negatively about you behind your back, subtly damaging your reputation. You may have trusted this person, considered them part of your circle, someone who respected your story and kept your confidence. Then, unexpectedly, something surfaces. Another person mentions a remark or criticism that should never have come from them. When someone secretly dislikes you, they rarely confront you directly. Instead, they rely on indirect tactics, speaking about you in your absence. These comments are not always openly hostile, but they are designed to plant doubt, weaken your image, and gradually influence how others perceive you. It often begins with seemingly harmless statements. I like them, but sometimes they act a bit strange, or they're talented, but there's something about their attitude. These remarks appear mild, yet they function like slow poison. They are not direct attacks, but subtle shifts in perception, encouraging others to question their view of you. People who speak negatively behind your back are often expressing their own insecurities. By diminishing you, they attempt to elevate themselves. The real risk in this behavior is its invisibility. You may not know what is being said or how far it has spread. Instead, you notice small changes, distance in interactions, a different tone, reduced enthusiasm from others. Ignoring these signs simply because there is no clear proof can be a mistake. If multiple people begin repeating vague remarks, or if your reputation seems to decline without explanation, it's possible someone is quietly working against you. The most practical response is to be mindful of who you trust. Not everyone who listens has good intentions. The seventh sign is that their body language reveals their hidden contempt, avoiding eye contact, a tight jaw, or a forced smile. Their physical behavior often communicates more than their words. Words can be controlled, but body language is much harder to hide. A person may speak politely and appear friendly, yet their nonverbal signals often reveal their true feelings. When someone secretly dislikes you, they send subtle cues that your intuition detects before your conscious mind fully understands them. You might notice they avoid eye contact, as if it makes them uncomfortable, or they hold an unusually intense stare that feels confrontational. Their expression may go blank when you speak, or their face may tighten at certain moments. These micro-expressions, brief, almost invisible, often expose underlying emotions. A quick eye roll, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, or a defensive posture such as crossed arms can all signal hidden tension. Carl Jung emphasized that humans are deeply intuitive. Our unconscious mind registers these nonverbal signals, which is why we sometimes feel uneasy around someone without knowing why. Their presence simply feels off. This form of silent hostility is particularly difficult to address because it lacks clear words. There is no direct statement to challenge. If you question their behavior, they can easily deny it. However, your instincts often recognize what your mind has not yet processed. Learning to read body language is like understanding an unspoken language. Someone who genuinely values you will show openness, warmth, and engagement. In contrast, someone holding resentment will consistently display tension, irritation, or distance, even unintentionally. Paying attention to these signals can confirm what you already sense internally. The eighth sign is gradual exclusion. You notice that you are no longer invited, and a quiet distance begins to grow. You were once included, part of conversations, naturally present within the group. Then, slowly and without clear explanation, something changes. You begin to feel left out in subtle ways. Plans happen without your knowledge, excuses become vague, and reassurances sound like, "We didn't think you'd be interested," or "It was last minute." When someone secretly dislikes you, they rarely exclude you openly. They won't directly say you're not welcome. Instead, they maintain the appearance that everything is fine while gradually reducing your involvement. This behavior can occur individually or within a group. Sometimes, one person influences others, quietly casting doubt on your value, minimizing your role, or suggesting you don't quite belong. Over time, the group may follow without fully realizing it. Carl Jung noted that the need for belonging is fundamental. Being repeatedly excluded can lead to feelings of isolation and self-doubt, even when the issue does not originate with you. This subtle form of rejection can significantly affect confidence, especially when the cause is unclear. The challenge is that everything feels uncertain. There is no open conflict or direct argument, just a slow, fading presence. You sense that something is wrong but cannot identify a specific reason. This ambiguity is what makes the behavior so harmful, as it leads you to question your own perception. Recognizing this pattern is essential. If you feel someone is quietly distancing you, it may be time to step back. Those who genuinely value you will not allow others to determine your place. The ninth sign is that they appear almost relieved when you fail, showing little or no compassion. Life presents challenges, projects fail, opportunities are missed, and difficulties arise. In such moments, genuine connections provide support and understanding. People who care about you will empathize, encourage you, and help you recover. However, some individuals respond differently. When someone secretly dislikes you, they may struggle to hide a subtle sense of satisfaction when things go wrong for you. This is not expressed through obvious reactions, but through a lack of empathy or an unusually neutral response to your difficulties. They may offer no real support or make comments that suggest responsibility lies entirely with you. Someone who views you as a rival may interpret your setbacks as personal victories. This attitude appears in small details: a faint smile, a shift in tone, or a more relaxed posture. In more extreme cases, they may even contribute to your struggles, whether intentionally or unconsciously. They might give questionable advice, encourage risky choices, or repeatedly remind you of past mistakes, reinforcing doubt about your abilities. Recognizing this behavior requires awareness, as it is easy to dismiss your own instincts. You may convince yourself that you are overthinking. However, when someone consistently shows no concern for your struggles, and you sense that your difficulties bring them relief, it is a warning sign that should not be ignored. The 10th sign is that they minimize or ignore your achievements, unable to genuinely share in your success. When you accomplish something meaningful, people who truly value you respond with genuine happiness. They celebrate your progress, congratulate you sincerely, and treat your success as something worth acknowledging. In contrast, someone who secretly dislikes you will show little enthusiasm. Their reaction may be distant, awkward, or mechanical, a simple acknowledgement without real emotion. They might respond with a flat, "That's nice," while internally remaining unaffected. In some cases, they go further by downplaying your achievement. "It's not that impressive," or "anyone could have done that." These responses can feel more discouraging than direct criticism, as they dismiss the value of your effort. Carl Jung discussed how projection and repression influence behavior. When someone feels envy or resentment, your success can highlight their own frustrations or unfulfilled goals. Rather than acknowledging your achievement, they choose to minimize or ignore it to avoid confronting those feelings. They often try to shift attention away from you. Right after you share good news, they redirect the focus to themselves. "Oh, I've done something similar recently." Or they quickly change the subject, as if your achievement holds little importance. If this person is never truly present in your happy moments and shows no genuine excitement for your progress, it may be worth questioning the role they play in your life. Those who truly care about you will celebrate your success, not quietly diminish it. The 11th sign is that their help always comes with conditions. Their support creates an unspoken obligation rather than genuine care. In healthy relationships, people help each other freely, without expecting anything in return. But some individuals operate differently. Every favor, every piece of advice, and every act of support carries an implied cost. When someone secretly dislikes you, they may still offer help, but they make sure you feel indebted. This often appears in reminders. "If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have succeeded." Or, "Remember, you got that opportunity because of me." This creates an imbalance, where they gain a sense of power by keeping you tied to them through obligation. Another form of this behavior is selective support. They only help when it benefits them, when it improves their image, serves their interests, or gives them influence over you. But when you need support and there's nothing in it for them, they suddenly become unavailable or emotionally distant. Carl Jung noted that some relationships operate through hidden power dynamics. Offering help can become a subtle form of control. Someone who genuinely values you will not use support as leverage. Their help is sincere, without reminders or expectations. Recognizing this pattern is important. True support is a gift, not a tool for control. If someone helps only to maintain influence, it is not genuine care, but disguised dominance. The 12th sign is when spirituality is used as a tool for manipulation, causing you to doubt your own feelings and intuition under the appearance of personal growth. Spiritual gaslighting is a subtle and harmful form of manipulation. Instead of directly distorting reality, it invalidates your emotions by framing them as a lack of awareness or growth. This person may dismiss your feelings with statements like, "That's just your ego," or, "If you were more evolved, you wouldn't feel this way." They may suggest that you need to raise your vibration to overcome your emotions. Rather than offering real support, they reinterpret your pain as weakness. This approach can make you question your instincts and believe that your reactions are the problem. So Carl Jung warned about the risks of emotional repression. Ignoring or suppressing your feelings in the name of progress can disconnect you from your inner truth. Genuine growth does not come from denying emotions. It comes from understanding and accepting them. The final sign is your intuition. There are experiences that cannot always be explained logically, yet they are deeply felt. A persistent sense of unease, a subtle discomfort, or a feeling that something is not right in the relationship. On the surface, everything may seem normal, no direct conflict, no obvious negativity. But internally, something continues to signal that something is off whenever you are around this person. Carl Jung explained that the unconscious mind perceives far more than the conscious mind. Emotions act as quiet signals, alerting us to potential issues before we fully understand them. Intuition is not random. It is built from many subtle cues that the mind has not yet processed consciously. When someone secretly dislikes you, their behavior, energy, and micro-expressions often reveal what they are trying to hide. You may sense distance in their tone, inconsistency between their words and actions, or a lack of warmth in their presence. Compliments may feel empty, encouragement may seem forced, and their expressions may communicate something their words do not. The challenge is that people often ignore these signals. They reassure themselves with thoughts like, "I'm overthinking," or "there's no real problem." But emotional responses are rarely without reason. If interactions with someone consistently leave you feeling tense, uneasy, or drained, then that feeling should not be dismissed. Learning to trust your intuition is essential. You do not need clear evidence to acknowledge what you feel. If discomfort continues without explanation, it is worth asking an important question. Does this person truly deserve a place in your life? You have the right to protect yourself. You have the right to create distance. You have the right to listen to that internal voice that has been signaling concern from the beginning. Realizing that someone close to you may secretly dislike you can be difficult. The next question becomes how to respond. The immediate reaction may be to confront them directly in search of clarity, but this is not always effective. Some individuals will never acknowledge their hidden resentment. Confrontation may only lead to denial, further manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. Carl Jung explained that projection of the shadow is often unconscious. A person may not even understand the source of their negative behavior. However, this does not mean such behavior should be tolerated. The most effective approach is to establish clear boundaries and protect your emotional well-being. First, stop seeking validation. If someone dismisses your achievements, minimizes your feelings, or weakens your confidence, you are not obligated to gain their approval. The more you rely on their validation, the more influence they have over you. Second, limit their access to your life. This does not necessarily mean ending the relationship completely, but it does involve creating distance. Share less personal information, avoid emotional dependence, and keep interactions neutral. As your openness decreases, their influence naturally weakens. Finally, focus on strengthening your own emotional state. This includes practicing awareness, building confidence, and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely support you. Protecting yourself does not mean withdrawing from others. It means learning to recognize who deserves your trust and who does not. The key lesson here is not about developing suspicion or resentment. It is about cultivating awareness and emotional intelligence. Recognizing these patterns allows you to choose your relationships more carefully, protect your energy, and invest in connections that truly support your growth. Creating distance is not always a loss. In many cases, it is a necessary step toward personal development. Now take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Observe them with greater awareness. Trust your intuition and prioritize your inner peace. If this message has been helpful, consider subscribing and enabling notifications to continue exploring topics related to psychology, relationships, and personal growth. And if you've reached the end, share "I choose peace" in the comments to show that you are part of a community focused on a more balanced and conscious way of living. See you in the next video.